I did a video a while back talking about some smaller creators that I follow. One of the reasons I mentioned that I really like watching smaller creators is that they have tools that we all have, right? They have hand-me-down tools. They have cheaper tools from the big box stores or Harbor Freight. And I started thinking about the hand-me-down tools. I'm lucky enough to have quite a few. Both of my grandparents were very involved in DIY kind of stuff, carpentry, whatever. So I ended up with quite a few of their tools. So I thought I was going to do a video today and talk about my top 5 tools that I've inherited that I enjoy using. Some of them I really don't use, but they just bring me joy seeing them all the time. And I may even have a bonus or two, we'll see. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. The first tool I want to talk about is this keyhole saw. I actually didn't even know what it was called. I thought it was a drywall saw because that's what I've used it for. It's just perfect to get in and get, little holes cut in drywall for a electrical box or a box to run a Ethernet cable or something. This was my grandpa's, Papa Floyd's what I called him. He was a carpenter, and, he would always have stuff for me when I showed up at his house. He would always have scrap wood, nails, and just let me go to town and build something. Of course, looking back now, it's probably more to get me out of his hair, so I wasn't bugging him in the house. But anyway, he definitely would come out and show me how to hammer and not smash my thumbs, because I definitely, smash my thumbs quite a bit. But this saw, I've used it for so much of my life. This was my main saw to cut smaller holes for a long time. The blade got all bent up, and you know what? I was going to swap out the blade, but I just like it being in the same state it was when he had it. So now it's just more of a museum piece. It sits normally up on my pegboard wall. I don't really use it, but it's sitting there so I can see it all the time. And it just really means a lot to me just because I know it was his and it's something he held in his hands and used on a daily basis. The second tools I want to talk about is hammers, and I've got quite a few of them. This was my grandpa's hammer, same grandpa, Papa Floyd. It's a Craftsman hammer. It's still in good shape. It's actually heavy as can be. I mean, this is one of those hammers that if you're trying to drive nails in one strike, this is the hammer you want. It's just weighted very well. You don't have to worry about breaking the wood or anything because there is no wood. And actually, the rubber on the handle is actually held up pretty well, considering this hammer is probably at least 50 years old or so. Anyway, that's the first hammer. The second hammer was my other grandpa's. He did some carpentry too, did a lot of odd jobs, things like that. But I wouldn't even know this was his hammer, except for the fact that he scraped his name in the, in the handle there. Another hammer I enjoy just because I know it's something he held in his hands and used to do DIY stuff. And the last hammer I have in this group is just my dad's hammer. It's one of the ones, he had a few of them, but I remember this one as I was a kid, being up on the pegboard at the house. When I was building a tree house or anything else, I'd go grab this hammer. And I liked it because it had a very easy way to hold on to it at the bottom, so you could really swing it and get a lot of force behind it if you're tearing something down or if you're hammering nails. It worked really well. And there's one hammer that I can't even find. Somewhere in my mess here, there's a hammer that was my father-in-law's. We got it from my father-in-law's house. I'm not sure if it was his or his dad's, but it's a plumb hammer. I use it all the time. Again, it just reminds me of him. Now that all of these men in my life are gone, it's just nice to be able to use something and remember them. The next tool I'm going to talk about is actually something I use all the time. This square, again, was Papa Floyd's, my grandpa. I use it all the time still. If you watched any of my videos, you probably see me using this. It still works very well. I don't know if it's got a name brand. Oh, it's Stanley. So it is a quality tool. Anyway, this tool is something that gets used all the time. I had 2 of them. In some way, I've lost a little bar for the second one. I'm not sure where the second one came from, but anyway, this one is something that sets up here on my pegboard, and it's not just a museum piece. It's something I use all the time. And this next tool, again, was Papa Floyd's. Just a hand drill. I've never actually used it. Seems to still be in pretty good shape. It's rusted quite a bit, but again, this is kind of how it was when I got it, so I'm not interested in cleaning it up. I'm more of a person where I would rather keep the tools in the shape they were in when I got them, when I know the person that I'm remembering was using them like this. It wasn't spotless when he used it. It set out in his shop that wasn't air conditioned. It wasn't humidity controlled. So things out there rusted, and that's the way his shop was. So that's kind of how this is going to be. Don't know that I'll ever use it. I guess one of these days I should try to make a video and use this just for the fun of it. But otherwise, it's just going to set up here and be something I look at and remember him. All right. And number 5, this was I guess it would be my grandpa's. He had a sawmill when my dad and his brothers were younger. And my dad told me many stories about him and his brothers having to go out and fell trees with this thing. It is a 2-man saw. You get one person on each end, pulling back and forth, take the tree down, and then they would haul it up to my grandpa to cut into wood to make some money. And, my dad was a tremendously strong man, but he always said this is one thing that just completely wore him out. He would be out of breath quicker than anything trying to use this saw. But the fact that I know, my dad used this, my Uncle Raymond, and probably my Uncle Gerald, who I never got to meet. He passed away before I was born, but it's just kind of awesome that I know so many men in my life use this saw. Just really makes it something I'm never going to get rid of. It'll be something around as long as I am. So the next thing, not really a shop tool at all, but this is something that my grandpa used. He had it at his house in Arkansas, right down the road from where I grew up. The coolest thing about it, you can see obviously it's got a hole here that's, it's not really rusted through. I'm not sure how that hole got there, but at some point the handle, I guess, had broken, and he just took an old limb and made another handle. He whittled it down to make it fit, put a screw in there to hold it. And I probably had this thing for at least 30, 40 years. I did have to cut off the stick here was quite a bit longer at some point, and I cut it off just to make it fit. Our house in Frisco, I had a tool holder to hold all the tools like this, and the stick was so long it wouldn't really fit in there without hitting the roof, so I had to cut a little bit off. But, I didn't really get a lot of use out of this. I had it and just didn't want to get rid of it, but now that we're out here on the homestead, we're always moving hay, putting it around in the garden, things like that, so this is a perfect rake for that. Got to be careful though. These are pretty sharp. And the last bonus piece I'm going to show you here is a simple pair of scissors, but this pair of scissors was my mom's. And for my whole life, I remember her using these. They're not crazy sharp anymore. They're not going to cut anything too well. She always used these. It really didn't matter if she was cutting paper, if she was helping me do a school project, if she was cutting fabric. She's, putting patches over my jeans where I scraped the knees through. Whatever she was doing that needed a pair of scissors, these are the ones she would use. It looked like there was a name brand here at some point, but it's just completely wore off now. You can't even see the model number. Everything's just completely gone. The paint's pretty much removed from the handles, just from where, I just can't imagine how much time she spent cutting with these scissors in her whole life. And when I was cleaning out some of the stuff that we brought back from her house when we moved her in with us, I found these scissors there, and I just couldn't pass them up. So I have to keep them, and just a memento of her. Again, I don't know that they're sharp enough to really cut much anymore, but anytime I see them, I'm going to just think of my mom helping me with these scissors. Anyway, that's my 5 favorite hand-me-down tools with a couple of bonus tools thrown in. But anyway, I would love to hear what you guys have as your favorite hand-me-down tools. Hopefully you have some. Hopefully there was some tools in your family that you've got your hands on and able to keep. I'd love to hear which ones are your favorites. Do you really use them, or are they just there more as a memento? Anyway, if you like what you saw in this video, please go down there and subscribe. I've got some other videos I'll put up here that you could probably go check out. I do a lot of DIY, a little bit of homesteading. I'd love to have you come around and check out some more of the videos. Thanks, guys. You have a great day.